You also talked about the herdsmen crisis now, and one of the initiatives you are coming up with is to provide a grazing reserve for these people. But there's still a lot of anxiety that these herdsmen would be unwilling to change their nomadic way of life because this is what they've been accustomed to for several years to now.
Well, that is true, but you have to understand the situation first. I think people are not really catching the problem of cattle rustling in Nigeria, because if you look at it carefully, you will know that most of the people who are coming, herdsmen, who are coming into Nigeria, they are not the indigenous Fulani people. They are not the indigenous herdsmen, because they are foreigners, especially those coming from West Africa, and they are coming with cattle, thousands of cattle into the country. So even if you talk of grazing route, what type of grazing route can you provide for somebody with 1,000 cattle? And those 1,000 cattle, he is not going along with the feeds of the cattle. So the cattle they have to feed along the road. What do they feed for? They have to cut some trees. They have to go into people's farm, and that is where the problem starts. So if you are thinking of, introducing modern system of cattle rearing, how do you accommodate foreigners who are coming into your country with thousands of cattle? What land do you have to provide for that? And also, they are coming with a different culture. They are not coming here in order to stay in Nigeria. They are coming here because their area they left, there's a drought there. So they are coming at a particular season to come and feed their cattle and then take the cattle back to their country. So that is the problem. So what I want people to understand about the herdsmen, farmers conflict, first of all, we have to check the influx of herdsmen coming into Nigeria. This is an issue of ECOWAS, So in the ECOWAS, the heads of states, the states must agree that there should be no movement of herdsmen from one country to another. And if there should be such a movement, then they must be registered. They must be given identification card. All the cattle must be known. They should pay tax for all this. So if they are known, if there is data like you said, then it's easy to follow them to find out what they are doing. Now, coming back to our own indigenous herdsmen, that is an issue of advocacy. That's the issue of public enlightenment. That is the issue of engaging them. Here in Kano, we have succeeded in engaging them. We have been discussing with them. And in fact, we introduced the issue of a modern system of cattle breeding. We sponsored 75 sons and daughters of the herdsmen for artificial insemination at Turkey. They came back now and they are practicing it among the herdsmen. We made sure that all the children that were sponsored are the children of the herdsmen, because when they come, they are already used to the trade and they will do it. Now we want to go into domesticating the herdsmen. Already we have identified 5 major forests of which we shall provide some, facilities like water, grazing area and also to provide some housing there. And if you analyze it carefully, if you ask, is it herdsmanship a cultural issue? Is it for culture or is it for economic enhancement? If I'm to give my own opinion, it's not for economic enhancement, because if you look at them, they have not succeeded in fighting poverty. And poverty has not succeeded in consuming them because they have assets.
Are you providing alternative to the issue you've raised just now?
Of course, the alternative is for them to stop being nomadic, to stay in one place, so that they can be provided with grading areas, so that social amenities can be provided in the settlements, like issues of education, issues of health, issue of markets, and so many other things. So, but if they are traveling from one place to another, even the nomadic education that was introduced has virtually failed, because How can you capture a child whom you are not sure when he's leaving that environment? And education is much more than that. So what we are doing here in Kano, we have convinced some of them that they agree to be domesticated, to stay around. We provide some enabling environment, that the grazing area, water, and veterinary clinic and so.
So you don't see that as a security risk?
No. What is the security risk there? They are all indigenous of Kano State. What is the security there? The security is when you allow them to go from one state to another. Along the route, you find that some problems will arise between farmers and the herdsmen. And in some places, actually, it is not an economic issue. It's an issue, it's a tribal issue. And in some places, it is an issue of religion. Something to say that. So there are so many variables that will come together. And at the end of it, that is where you get the insecurity.
Now let's look at the debt profile of Kano State. That's another area of concern. It's on record that you inherited a liability of 300 billion naira. So how do you justify this debt profile? It's
an issue of continuity. You see, if you go around the Kano city, go within both in metropolitan Kano and in the rural area, you see how we are implementing our own budget, and we are reducing the burden of the liabilities that we have. I hope you will have interview with the association of the local contractors that have money with the state government, and they will tell you that every month we take a portion and give them, and they go and they distribute. But you know, the burden is filing every year, so to say. But in our own case, we are trying to see that all the projects that we are doing, we want to complete them in time, even though there are some that, of course, we need to borrow money to do, and that is a modern economy, of course.
On the education front now, Kano State seems to have an unimpressive scorecard based on the fact that it has recorded the highest number of out-of-school children, 1.2 million out-of-school children in Kano State. Could you set this record straight? What are you doing to change this reality?
Are you sure all those children are from Kano? Kano is a commercial nerve center of northern part of this country. Kano is even a commercial nerve center of some West African countries. So you find that there's influx of people into Kano, and they come with their own children. And since there is no universal law that prevents the movement of children from one place to another, then we have a problem. But what we are doing now is that we want to convince the northern governors. So let us enact a common law that will prevent the movement of school-age children from one state to another. If that is done, then you can find that we have only those almajirs from Kano State, which is easier to manage, rather than having an influx.
You may also join in this conversation by sending us your comment on our various social media platforms showing on your screen. Coming up on Question Time, setting the record straight on Kano Poverty Alleviation Initiative. Find out from the Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje.